In our last lecture, we talked about stream function in case of a 2D incompressible flow. In this lecture, we will take up vorticity, which is another quantity of our importance in CFD for the same 2D incompressible flow. The idea is, of course, can be extended for 3-dimensional flows as well, but we will limit our discussion to 2D system. Vorticity is simply the curl of the velocity vector. So unlike stream function, which was a scalar, vorticity is always a vector. Physically, this quantity indicates the angular velocity of a fluid particle with respect to its own axis, the axis that passes through the center of mass of the fluid particle. With respect to that, if there is a spin in the fluid particle, then the vorticity will be non-zero. If there is no rotation of the fluid particle with respect to its own axis, then the vorticity will be zero. And such flows, if you remember from your undergraduate fluid mechanics, zero vorticity flows, we call them irrotational flows, and non-zero vorticity flows are rotational flows. Now, in a general case where we have a 3-dimensional velocity fields, where we have 3 velocity components u, v and w, the vorticity vector omega, that is given by del cross u, that is the curl of the velocity vector, if I, j, k are 3 unit vectors in x, y, z direction, then we can find the curl by taking determinant I, j, k, del x, del y, del z and u, v, w. So that will give us 3 components of vorticity, that is del w, del y minus del v, del z, that is in x direction, then del w, del x minus del u, del z, that is in y direction, and del v, del x minus del u, del y, that is in z direction. Now we come to the case of 2-dimensional velocity field. So in 2-dimensional velocity field, we have u as u and v, the third component, that is w, is 0, and both this u and v are functions of x and y. In such a case, you can see that the x component of vorticity, del w, del y minus del v, del z, will be 0. Why? Because the w is 0 anyway, and v is simply a function of x and y, so its z derivative is 0, which means this component will be 0. The second component, that is the y component of vorticity, is del w, del x minus del u, del z. This is again 0 because w is 0 anyway, and u is a function of x and y, so del u, del z is 0. Which means now the vorticity vector has only one component. We are writing that as the scalar omega. In k, that means in z direction, and this scalar omega is given by del v, del x minus del u, del y. This is in general non-zero because we know that u and v are functions of x and y. So del v, del x minus del u, del y, it could be 0 in some cases, but in general it is non-zero. So now vorticity, even though it is a vector, there are 2 important points here. This is a vector, but it has only one non-zero component. Second is that my velocity field u and v are varying with x and y, but the z direction of vorticity vector will remain here, and this z direction of vorticity vector, that is this given by the scalar omega. This scalar omega is a function of x and y. So this is a z direction, z component of vorticity, but it is a function of x and y. Which means that in 2D velocity field, the vorticity is like a scalar. It is not a scalar, it is a vector, but it is a vector with only one non-zero component. Because it has only one non-zero component, it behaves like a scalar. And then you may wonder that why it is only the z direction vorticity vector remains and others simply goes out. It is because this in this xy plane the fluid particle can rotate with respect to the z axis only. So that rotation is given by z direction of vorticity. So z direction of vorticity is non-zero only in a 2D flow field. We did not have any assumption about incompressibility or so. This idea is applicable to flow being compressible or incompressible. It doesn't really matter, but it matters because we will solve incompressible flow. So for us, we are discussing only the incompressible flow, but this idea of vorticity is applicable to compressible and incompressible flow equally. Now we come to this incompressible flow and we see the specifics. So we know that the x momentum is given by del u del t plus u del u del x plus v del u del y equals minus 1 by rho del p del x plus nu, and then the Laplacian of u. Similarly, the y momentum has this del v del t plus u del v del x, v del v del y minus 1 by rho del p del y plus Laplacian of v. Now, using this equation, we wish to find an equation of vorticity. So how do you do so? Let's say that we have this omega, that is the scalar omega. This is the only one component of vorticity. Other component of vorticities are simply zeros. So vorticity is like a scalar here, and the scalar omega is del v del x minus del u del y. If I simply multiply this v into omega, so I get this v del x minus v del u del y, is just simple multiplication, which gives me this v del u del y equals v del x minus v of omega. And this v del x, I can write it as half del v square del x minus v omega. Therefore, this u del x plus v del u del y that appear in this x momentum equation. So this u del x, I can write u del x as half del u square del x. V del u del y is, I have just seen v del u del y is half del x of v square minus v omega. Together I write that del q del x minus v omega, where this q is simply this v square plus u square by 2. Now I do a similar type of analysis in the y momentum equation. So in y momentum equation, I start with u omega, that is u del v del x minus u del u del y, and this gives me u del v del x is u del u del y plus u omega. U del u del y once again is half of del y of u square plus u omega. So u del v del x plus v del y, the term that appears in y momentum equation, is given by, first term is given by half del y of u square plus u omega, that is coming from here, and then the second term is v del v del y. V del v del y is simply equals half del y of v square. So together that is del q del y plus u omega. You already know that q is u square plus v square by 2. Let us now carry forward this idea. So I have u del x plus v del u del y equals del q del x minus v omega. Similarly, u del v del x plus v del y equals del q del y plus u omega. Here omega is the vorticity, that is del v del x minus del u del y. So if I now go in the x momentum equation, I have del u del t, and then I had this u del x plus v del u del y. So I replace that u del x plus v del u del y with this del q del x minus v omega. The right hand side part of x momentum, I don't do anything there. Similarly, in y momentum equation, I had the first term del v del t, then I had this u del v del x plus v del y. So I replace that with del q del y plus v u omega, and then right hand side I keep it intact. Now what I am going to do is I will take this del x of y momentum equation, and then I'll subtract the del y of x momentum equation from it, and what I get is this equation, which we name as is a very important equation for us, is the vorticity transport equation. I get this equation of vorticity, that is del omega del t plus del x of u omega del y of v omega plus nu del 2u del x2 del 2u del y2. How I am getting this? For instance, the first term. So as I take this del x of y momentum, that means the first term, that is the transient term, it is coming as del x of del v del t minus del y of x momentum. So del y of del u del t, that is the first term of x momentum. I can now interchange the order of differentiation, and that will give me that this is del t of del v del x minus del u del y. You understand that this is our omega within this first bracket. So this term is del omega del t, which is coming here. For the second term, I take this del x of this del q del x del q del y plus u omega, that is coming from y momentum, minus of del y del q del x minus v omega, that is coming from the x momentum. Now you can see that this will be the first term will be del 2q del x del y, here also minus del 2q del y del x. So this q will cancel out. Only thing that we will have is del x of u omega plus del y of v omega, and this term will appear here. Then in the right hand side, the way we have cancelled out q here, the same logic we can apply for this pressure P, and this del 2p del x del y and del 2p del y del x, they will simply cancel each other. So the term that will remain are the Laplacian. So if I take the Laplacian and take this del x of this Laplacian of v here minus del y and this Laplacian of u here, and then once again I change the order of differentiation. If I take this del 2 del x2 out, then I have del v del x coming from here, del u del y coming from here, and del 2 del x2 is out. Similarly, I can take del 2 del y2 out, and the same terms del v del x and del u del y will appear here. So overall it gives me del 2 del x2 of omega plus del 2 del y2 of omega. Please note that whatever there in this first bracket, this is the omega, the scalar component of vorticity. This is the only non-zero component of vorticity. So overall we arrive at the vorticity transport equation, which is a very important equation for us, and we will talk about how to solve this equation. Kindly note that this equation is applicable only in 2D system. 3D vorticity equation is different, and we will not talk about it here, and 3D vorticities are also not scalars. So 3D vorticity equations are fundamentally different, and we will not talk about this 3D vorticity in this course. 2D vorticity is simply a scalar equation, but in 3D vorticity we will have all non-zero components, and we will have vector equations of vorticity. There will also be additional terms, so it is slightly more complicated. We will not talk about it now, not in this course. Now for your exercise here, you can go back to this flow through parallel plate with uniform inlet. We have impermeable stationary plates here at y equal to plus h and minus h. No slip condition will be satisfied on these plates. Now, without doing anything, simply qualitatively, can you comment on how vorticity on the plate, that means at y equal to plus h or y equal to minus h, how vorticity will vary as we go in the x direction on the plate vorticity, how it will vary. You discuss it qualitatively, and similarly you discuss the same vorticity variation qualitatively on the plate, but here the inlet profile is parabolic. It's very important that you understand the difference between these two. Doing the calculation is always difficult, no matter what kind of calculation you do. If you have an idea that what kind of solutions you are going to get simply from pure thinking, that will be very helpful for you to get into the heart of the problem. Finally, try to see what are the connections between the wall shear stress and wall vorticity. At the end, as engineers, we are more interested about the shear stresses, because that will lead to the forces and the energy required to sustain the flow. So, is there a connection between the vorticity and the shear stresses? You can think about it and you can discuss qualitatively. So that's all for this lecture. Thank you, and I'll see you in next class.